Host Mike Asherbrenner here, rolling with Mike King Biz on ESPN 106.1 FM RVA. Folks joining us on the live stream, hey, welcome. Thank you so much. And folks driving around or sitting at your desk over there in Richmond, hey, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you greatly and always looking to give useful, practical advice that actually works. Imagine that. Just like in true Mike King fashion. So today, our guest, April Wyett, living with intention. Let's roll this intro and we're going to get started. And yes, I am running the buttons by myself. So it'll at least be entertaining as well as educational.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbrenner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
Well, welcome to the party, April Wyett. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me here, Mike.
Oh my goodness, it's always a pleasure. Man, this has been April month, hasn't it? April on the newsletters, April on the Hounds of Business late night, and now on Mike King Biz Radio. So glad you were here. Uh, Everybody, her website, if you want to check this out early, is livingwithintention.co. All right, not no M. All right, livingwithintention.co. So I met you through Dr. Constance Leland, Level Up Academy, amazing partnership, and also Russ Hedge, right, author of Befuddled. And
Oh, yeah.
so, how long ago did we meet? And did you join the pack?
Oh, gee. I think it was in March. I reached out. I also connected with Chasen Fortin too, or I always messed his last
Chase
name.
beforehand.
Thank
That's
you.
okay. I'm
I
glad
knew
you
it was
did it.
wrong.
Usually it's me. It's usually me mess up. Thank you for that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so just, Dr. New, all those amazing people. And then somebody sent me a link for the, get to meet and greet with you. And so I was on one of those calls and it was like, yeah, I want to learn more about this pack. What's going on over here? This are some amazing people here.
Wonderful. That again, that's the benchmark. If we're attracting and retaining super pros like you and the folks in the comments here, Royce Blake, Matt T, not sure who LinkedIn user is, but they said they lived in Virginia over 40 years. And sure they're a fellow redneck. Yes, you probably are. And Royce is, like I said, Royce is here. So it's been fun because if we're attracting and retaining folks, we know we're doing the right thing. We know it's efficient. So and that's how you live your life. You live your life and what you do for work and how you help people in your business out of experience, right? So if you don't mind, go ahead and give the folks the background, a little bit of the background. How did childhood influences and even adulthood influences kind of shape your approach to the wellness and personal growth today?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say my background right now. For those of you who are watching, you're probably wondering what's going on here. This is my bedroom. We are full-time RVers. And so if my Wi-Fi is a little in and out, you'll understand why. So just really being curious and adventurous with life. That's how that's how it got me here. And so I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, on one of the San Juan Islands, Woodby Island. And um, my childhood wasn't so great, so I spent a lot of time outside in the woods, learning and exploring through nature. Nature really is the schoolhouse for us to learn.
Oh, it
And I
is.
continue to learn on our journeys and adventures across this amazing nation that is a privilege to be able to live and explore.
Absolutely. I grew up in the woods. That was way, I say way before. I grew up in that weird new kids on the block era, right? Where we, like all vanilla ice. So we played in the woods all the time, man, when we were poor. So, I mean, it's all we had around us was woods. But there is something I can go back to that, take a simple walk and reconnect. And, but sometimes I'm like, I'm too busy, right? And we're going to get into that because most of the people here are just too daggum busy. But what they like, if they're like me, what they fail to realize is that this stuff that we're putting off that we're too busy for actually helps us when we do it.
Hmm.
And it hurts us when we don't do it. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, tell us a little bit about your background as a quote wellness guru, right? And you had a 9 to 5. What led you to leave that 9 to 5? Because a lot of folks can relate to that, right? And focused on holistic transformation.
Yeah. So thank you for asking that question, Mike. It's interesting throughout life. We're constantly looking for that goal. We're going to school, to get the degree, to get the credentials. Then after school, we get an internship or, land a job. And so it's constantly looking for the next thing. And so I was a late bloomer, basically, since I followed my husband around for 26 years in the Navy, and we lived in Japan for a total of 10 years, and mainly
Wow.
on the West Coast. Yeah. And so when he retired, I thought, well, now's my time to go back to school. And so I was a seasoned student, and funny stories there behind, walking into class and some of the students thinking that I was the professor.
Oh no. Oh, I've been there.
Yeah. And so just going through that and then working with a nonprofit. And so in this nonprofit, I supported youth from the ages of 15 to 24. That's the Department of Labor, that we were working with this grant to support these youth who were at risk. So they faced so much adversity in their lives, that we were enhancing their work readiness skills, working with their emotional intelligence, all of that. So that way, that prepared them to be the best they could when they went into the workforce. Although I was finding, working with this population, that it was a kind of a band-aid approach, right? They had so much
Right.
trauma and so much adversity that they faced. They'd only get so far, and then they would kind of fall off, or they would take a left turn, out of nowhere, and it was because of that trauma. They were fearful of becoming more, of wanting more in their lives, and maybe stuck in their stories or the belief systems, which I call BS, right? That we all have.
Right.
And so when I witnessed that, I thought, well, I'm already working with people, supporting them holistically with wellness as a side job, with Reiki and sound healing and biodynamic breath work. I want to really work with people who are ready to step up, ready to go a little deeper, wanting more for themselves. So I left the 9 to 5 and opened Living with Intention. And that was in 2020. And so then shortly after that, we became full-time RVers, and I'm able to support people on the road, with the support of the meditations that I offer, and the Reiki and the biodynamic breath work. And I can get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, I do. But before we go there, I want to kind of set the stage, right? Because I'll be honest. All right, hey, I'm not proud of it, but a lot of these things that I've heard, back in the day, it was sound woo woo, right? Like, oh man, I don't need that. That's just some, new age, next level, whatever. So, but now, again, being surrounded by all these brilliant people for so long and interviewing them, I've learned a whole lot. And so, again, my mantra is, hey, try it before you knock it. So, you said you left the 9 to 5. I've done that twice. But what holds people back, in your opinion? Because most people will be miserable. They won't be happy. They won't follow their heart. They won't take that risk and that step because it's daggum scary. So, what is it that you think made the difference? Like, well, because we have retirement and pension and seniority and all these reasons to stay. But, what was it deep down in you and in some of your clients that said, you know what? Yeah, I just can't. I know I have all the reasons to stay, but I can't. Like inside of me, I'm dying. Like, what was your experience there?
Yeah, it's so true. So true about that, wanting more, yet feeling that, like a contraction of, I'm not sure. So this is the, becoming centered in uncertainty. This is about bringing ourselves back to us. And it all starts with awareness. When we are aware of when we're in certain situations or circumstances, such as work, like a big meeting's coming up or there's a deadline due or something, and we're already feeling that within our bodies, that the anxiety, the overwhelm, or even the shutdown, right? How can we bring ourselves back to be more centered, even in the uncertainty stuff that's swirling around? And it all starts again with that awareness, but also it has to do with being more mindful of, what can I do in this moment to feel better? And what's the first thing that EMTs, if somebody's going through a crisis, they show up at an accident, there's things happening, somebody is kind of out of control, what's the first thing they tell you to do? What is
Calm.
it?
Is it? It's been a while. Because we calm, de-escalate, right?
And breathe.
Breathe. Yes.
Yeah,
Like
breathe.
Mr.
Because,
Miyagi.
yes, because what's happening is we are in our, the sympathetic nervous system, and in that fight, flight, or freeze, right, on that hamster wheel, having to think of all the things that we need to do. And that really fragments our thoughts, how our body's responding. And so when we breathe deep, and it's conscious breathing too, it's just not, okay, I
Right.
breathed. That doesn't work.
Right.
It's breathing in a little bit deeper and exhaling a little bit longer. That's what sets us into the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the rest and digest. That's the easiest way to find your center. Now, for those people who are really outside of themselves, they're really up in their heads, or there's some trauma things happening there, it's about noticing what's around you, right? They say notice 3 things: name them, the color, what it looks like. You bring your attention to something else that can also bring you back into a centered space. And then we can have a little bit more clarity with our thoughts, a little bit more awareness of what is the next step that we can take that feels a little easier, instead of having that overwhelm being like an avalanche in our minds. We really feel it in our bodies. Mm-hmm.
See, that's a huge thing, though. I mean, especially for me, you're talking about getting in your own head and dealing with trauma, and we all have it. Yeah, like we were just talking about this the other day, right? It's either you bury your head in the sand, throw a rug over, whatever, or you deal with it. It doesn't go away, and we all have that baggage. We all have that pain and stuff we have to look through, and you become a better everything. CEO, leader, whatever. When you become a more happier and harmonious person. I mean, absolutely. So on that note, it's so hard, because I've been there many times. It's so hard. And folks out there, they can relate to this, to pull yourself out of this, right? If you don't have this skill, or you haven't been taught, or you don't have a guide, it is almost, if it can feel impossible, right, to pull yourself out of it. It's like you're saving yourself from drowning almost. That's the importance of having a guide and somebody who can A, relate, and B, guide them through it, right? And that's you. That's what you do through living with intention, correct?
That is correct, Mike. Yeah, and I want to go back to what you say. It's so hard, right? It's like it pulls you in. I call that like the trauma vortex. So
Mhm.
I want everybody to remember to, or even to know, maybe people don't even know this, that emotions live in our bodies for only 90 seconds. Only 90 seconds. And Dr. Jill Bolt wrote about that. She's a neuroscientist. And so it's about being aware, again, that awareness. Oh, I'm feeling heightened. I'm feeling, I don't like to say trigger, because people get triggered from hearing trigger. So I feel heightened, I feel
Yeah.
activated, I'm feeling very overstimulated, or I'm feeling very low, however you're noticing that in your body. And then put your attention to your intention of how you want that outcome. You want to feel more calm. You want to feel more clear. You want to have the best outcome for all involved in this discussion, whatever people are going through. And when you shift it, I call it shift the script of those thoughts in our minds, then that alleviates that pressure, right? And those emotions only last for 90 seconds. So even being curious about that, feeling really angry right now, that person really pissed me off, you know?
Oh yeah.
And so, oh, okay, I'm feeling this way. Let me see how long this is going to last. I'm going to, and this sounds very strange, but look at a tree, look at your pet, take some breaths, and you can literally feel it shift, or it becomes more mild. You know, you might still have some nuances there. You might have a little bit of that still stuck in there, although it's really about you being in control of your emotions. And that's what emotional intelligence is all about. When you apply that mindfulness with the awareness, then you can really build upon your emotional intelligence. And that's what employers are really looking at now, and leaders, right? It doesn't matter. You could have a Yale, university, you could have all these credentials. Although if you can't, if you are compatible and a team player, or just even understand other people on your team, taking that time, just being curious, that's where the emotional intelligence comes in. That's who they want. They don't want
Yeah.
people
Oh,
dictating and telling other people what to do and how they should feel, and, oh, get over yourself, we got to get this done, that kind of thing. They want people who are cohesive. And
right,
that's
right. No, the 1950s dad. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Sometimes you have to grind. Sometimes you got to tough it out, but not as like every day, not as a long-term strategy. All right. So, hey, real quick, guys, you are listening to Mike Asherbranner, the proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And we are rolling with Mike King Biz on ESPN 106.1 FM. Folks in Richmond, hey, happy Friday. Folks live here, thank you so much for showing up, and we're having technical glitches, not my fault. But we have Tennille Jacobs, Jason Perry, hey, another country guy. Now we got 6 of them in the pack, right? We've got Warren, and wow, so many people we can't see. Sheena, oh my goodness, Sheena DuPont, oh my goodness. Scott Adams, he's already referring people. See what I mean? Man, y'all make me look good, feel good, and we get so much accomplished together. So, real quick, guys, since you're here, we are looking for ambassadors for the Hounds of Business. So you can find us on YouTube, Hounds of Business, LinkedIn, Hounds of Business, Carrier Pigeon, whatever. But we are looking for some folks to help lead the next wave, scale up what we do. It's for heart-centered, high-level professionals. So folks in TV land, hey, join us on LinkedIn. You can go to my profile, Mike Asherbranner, type in ASH, and the rest of it will pop up. All right. And we appreciate you tuning in with us. This is a great discussion with fellow Hound April Wyett, livingwithintention.co, not com. All right, livingwithintention.co. She's got tons of resources. An amazing individual. Just a sweet person. You just love hanging around with her. So happy to have her as the first ambassador in the Hounds of Business. So there we go. But yeah, we got whoop whoop, right? Like I've been hanging around CJ too long, pumping my hands in the air. All right. So let's get back to it because man, this time flies. We got about 10 minutes.
okay.
And
Before though we go, I have to shout out to Tennille. It's her birthday, and she's showing up here with us on her birthday. So happy birthday,
oh wow.
Tennille! And I see Michelle Ramos is in the room as well, and appreciate all the chatting with Matt as well. So thank you all for being here and supporting us.
Awesome. Yeah, it's killing me because I want to make sure their comments pop up. I'm not here trying to multitask, which you all know. There's a lot of smoke underneath this camo hat going on right now. But woo, brain power. All right. So this got me excited. Now I woke up. Uh-oh. Beware. So the awareness and mindfulness, it's seriously like we all get to that point where we're going to lose our stuff, right? We all get to that point where we're hopeless. And it's so hard. So what is one thing that we can put in the back of our heads that the next time we feel triggered, or whatever nicer word you use, when we feel that way, it could be home, friends, work, whatever. What is something we could do to stop ourselves instead of reacting, to better respond, to get our back in our headspace?
Mm. Yeah, I can say it goes back to the breath, but also remind yourself that it's temporary, because the
Right.
mind likes to tell so many stories, and it likes to just beat the dead horse, so to speak, since I'm here with you, Mike. Uh, and
Yep,
and
good
it likes
analogy.
to just keep going and going and going. So when you can just bring yourself back, take that breath, and remind yourself, this is just temporary, this isn't the rest of my life. And I also say, turn the worry into wonder. I wonder how this is going to work out. I don't know everything, and I am, I believe in God and all the, faith based. So it's like, I don't know, only God knows. That also helps to alleviate the pressure that we have to do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And then ask, okay, what's the next step I can take that feels better right now? And this is where you find that centered space that we were talking about, because there is so much happening in the world. There is so much happening in the communities. Uh, and I'm just saying, don't turn on the news. Don't do it.
No.
Go out for a walk in nature, take a breath, focus on you and what it is that you are wanting in your life, because that's what living with intention is, and not getting
Right.
distracted and sucked into all these other things, but really putting it back for you, because at the end of the day, you only have you.
Yeah, again, recovering thinkaholic, right? I mean, it's you're so wrapped up into it, and we got to get ourselves out of that. And by the way, people used to push my buttons like crazy, like a calculator, and then finally I've realized, hey, I can take the buttons off. Like, you're not a victim. You're not a victim. You're just struggling through things. You're stuck, but all of not about me, but you've helped me through this too. You've helped me here recently with some advice. You know, dogs
Tell
bark,
him, tell him
cats
what I
meow.
made you do, Mike. Tell him what I suggested
Oh,
for you to do. Seriously, they
okay.
need to hear it.
So I was going through that mental, like, oh my gosh, just overloaded. And April said, hey, take a walk, put your toes in the grass, take your shoes off. Here's what's funny. She assumed I was wearing shoes, right? Everybody's going, wow, that's funny. Um, but I did it. I even took a picture of them, even though I didn't cut my toenails. It was bad. But the point is that it helped. It may sound goofy. Again, this is not woo woo. You know what goofy to me is? Being angry all the time and kicking a stray cat on your way home and being and fighting with your family. Go check it out. If these methods aren't for you, there's other methods, right? You know more than one method. You know lots of methods, but there's
I,
get a guide. Amateurs do stuff alone. Professionals, top lead athletes, top level successful business people, they have coaches, multiple coaches. So that's my call to action. That's why we highlight this. That's why Mike King, he loves pushing people up and giving them an opportunity to grow. And that's why you're here today. So um, now you have two things. Let's go ahead and tell them before we go out of time, because I'm getting excited. I'll put the QR code up. Livingwithintention.co is how to find April. Livingwithintention.co. And you have a retreat coming up. Tell us about that, please.
oh yes. I have a reset and restore your mind and body in Bali, and that is November 11th through the 17th. There's still time to sign up. If you scan that QR code or go to my website, you'll see a little retreat icon. Although it's really for people who want to be unplugged, who want to go and experience um, the true tropical, right, tranquility of Bali. Learn about Osho meditation, which is a movement meditation with music. So you're not just sitting there, in a dark room for hours trying to clear your mind. You're actually moving. And this is what a good meditation is, because it gives your mind something else to do while you're in that state, because you're always going to have snowflakes flying around. I call it the snow globe effect, right? There's always things, scattered thoughts and things. And so when we come into that meditation, it gives your mind something to do, something to focus on. And also, of course, the biodynamic breath work, which I am a professional practitioner in, and that helps to ease your mind and body, literally melts tensions and brings you back to yourself. So that's just part of the experience that we're going to have there in Bali with this 7-day, 6-night inclusive retreat. So uh, connect with me. Let me know if you have any other questions about that. I'm more than happy to give more information. Also, I want to share that I do have a free restorative meditation. It's the first Thursday of every month. And that's also on that QR code if you scan that, and on my website. So that way you can relax, allow yourself that space, give yourself some space to, you know, release that. We don't have to hold all this stuff, and
Yeah.
that's what bodies do until we give it a space or time to breathe or, movement, whatever that is, it's going to keep holding for us. It's really good at it. And so this is what I'm here for. I'm here to help guide you and just let that stuff go.
Yeah, and again, you did it the other day. You gave me some advice, and then you're worried about I took it the wrong way, maybe. And I said, no, I don't need a bunch of how do I put this on the air behind kissers, right? I need people who have my back, but also say, hey, here's something helpful for you, right? I don't mind correction. I don't mind tips or advice, and that's the difference. I started winning when I stopped being difficult, right, and started being curious. And people like you, being around you, have been really influential to help me, branch out of that comfort zone, which really puts it at ease. Getting out of your own head, right, big time. And I'm seeing the comments. I'm dying. So how are you going to drive the RV to Bali? Like, have you figured that one out yet? You know?
It's going to turn into chitty chitty bang bang, right? And we're going to
Yeah.
fly over there.
Like the Oregon Trail. Remember the Oregon Trail on Apple IIe? Like just get that, just yeah, that little flotation. All right. So, and you also, real quick, because we only got a minute or two, you have a podcast, right? So
Oh
tell
yes.
folks about your podcast and other offerings and things that they might be able to tap into, because you have a broad array, and I want people to go to livingwithintention.co and take it away.
Yep. So, Living with Intention podcast and YouTube channel, I'm all about offering different outside the box ways of approaching wellness. So, it's good having the foundation of diet, right? Exercise and really mindfulness. Although, let's take it deeper. Let's talk about somatics. Let's talk about how you can release the tensions now, right away, not someday. It's that easy. It really is. And so I invite wonderful guest experts, I call them, on my podcast to talk about other ways too. And let's see here. I think that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, livingwithintention.co. Everybody go check that out. You have been an amazing friend, amazing Hounds member, and the comments. I mean, it says it all.
I
Everybody's
know,
asking.
chitty chitty bang bang. I also want to say, if anybody's just curious, that's what it takes, is a curiosity to be open. I do offer complimentary BBTRS, the biodynamic breath work session, for free to see if it's a good fit for you. So again, reach out to me. This is what I'm all about. I want people to feel better. We all want to feel better. So when are we going to do that? The
You,
time is now.
time is, thank you. Me and John Cena was right there with you, man. The time is now. All right. So, hey, get unstuck, go out there and live life. There's too many of us out there who, if we worked on our stuff, we could make an impact on all the stuff that makes us crazy, right? Homelessness, injustice, right? Fairness. We got to get this up. And this is what the pack's about. If a lot of us heart centered, high level professionals, if we had the time, money, and freedom to do what we want when we want, we can make a serious dent in things that matter. So, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here in the comments. This was super fun. I knew it would be. And Mike King, thank you, my friend. You are awesome. We love rolling with you. The way you push up your community in Richmond is unbelievable, man. So we appreciate you. Everybody else, well, we are out of time. Next week, the one and only Chris Rudin. Unbelievable. All right. How to book 10K speaking gigs. Do not miss that one. All right. Same time, same channel. See you all next one. Thank you, April.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.